VCT Americas has just completed its most important matches of Stage 1, with some teams being left in the dust and having their Toronto dreams nearly completely stripped away, and others pulling away from the pack, proving that they are currently the top teams to beat. The first series of the weekend was Sentinels vs Evil Geniuses, both 1-1 teams coming off of rough losses to Crew and 100 Thieves respectively. So for either team, a win here would be big to regain your fans' trust and put you back on track for playoffs. The first map, Haven, showed us the same Wayla comp we'd seen from Evil Geniuses the past 2 weeks, but Sentinels will come in with a new comp, going back to the standard comp with Neon in the duelist slot. This map would start with Sentinels picking up the pistol and going on to win a pretty clean bonus round, opening the map with a 3-0 lead.
Nuisance, with a little bit more to be done. Don't always tell the tale, do they? Much easier said than done. Bang with 3 as Sentinels pile it on.
And although EG will pick up an eco in the 4th round, Sentinels will pull away, eventually putting up a 10-2 half with huge performances from all players on the team.
Nice Sean, let's go!
Oh dear. This is not going to get any better, is it? No, it's
going to get worse.
Zelsis.
Oh, it's so bad!
Gorgeous! From Zelsis, 2 HP, looking to connect on the ace. And can't, but...
Sen would close out this map comfortably in the second half, taking the map at 13-4. Narrate especially would be on fire this map, going 21-9.
Left in a 1v3. Sable to get a couple! But once again, it's Narrate who saves the day.
That is just a masterclass performance on Sova out of Narrate. You couldn't ask for anything more.
This second map, Pearl, would show us the same comp we've been seeing from Sentinels all year, and a brand new comp from EG.
That stuff.
Very busy queue.
New comp.
Okay, so they are going to make some adjustments, still sticking to the double duelist, but going Jet Yoru instead.
Yeah.
This map would open quite back and forth, with EG keeping it much closer in the earlier rounds.
The attacking side.
That was nice.
You hear how quiet they are right now? You hear how quiet they are? Let's get this shit up.
Sentinels would still hold on to a lead though, taking the half at 7-5. And in the second half, Sen would demolish EG, only allowing them a single attacking round, closing the map at 13-6 and the series at 2-0.
Nice! What are we doing? You guys are all 5 of you! Bye-bye! Bye-bye!
The second series of the day was 100 Thieves vs Loud, which gave us quite a treat. After starting 0-2, Loud needed this win to make a run to the playoffs realistic. So with such an important game, and the team only looking like they were worse in week 2 compared to week 1, Loud made a high-risk change, bringing in rookie Lukxo to replace Thieves. Lukxo is a player that has been hyped up in Brazilian challengers for a little while now, even being dubbed the next Les. And with him now turning 18 about a month ago, he can prove his skills at the highest level of competition. On the other side though, 100 Thieves are coming off of a pretty clean win against EG in week 2. And with this performance, as well as Loud coming in with the roster change, this was a series expected to go the way of 100 Thieves. The first map, Haven, wouldn't start out this way though, with Loud grabbing an early 5-0 lead. 100T would slightly recover this half, but Loud would still pull away with a solid 8-4 half. And in the second half, Loud would hold on to their lead, taking the map at 13-6. In this first map, Lukxo was already proving himself as an incredible player, holding composure in important moments like he's been doing this for a decade.
Grow Cam, really fast play, completely changing the tempo.
Lukxo is so far forwards, this guy does not care. That one, they don't suspect this. Lukxo, off to the side, looking to the side, EU. This is Cryo. Barely alive at all, and one bullet is all it takes.
What a debut.
The second map, Icebox, would show us 2 interesting comps, with 100 Thieves of course bringing in their signature Gecko, while Loud would pick Reyna as their sole duelist.
Cryo Jet.
Okay.
And there is Digizine playing Reyna.
Yeah.
This map would start with 100T picking up the pistol and then getting immediately ecoed, resulting in an explosive attack half for Loud, with the Brazilians pulling away with a 9-3 lead. But you know what they say about Loud and 9-3 leads on Icebox?
Xander up for the lurk. Here's Loud fighting over this.
Oh, it's full aggro. This is it. All in. Why not? Throw everything together and see if you can come on top and top of the carnage. 100 Thieves trying to win these fights out. And my God, it's a bloodbath. Kawazine has got to be snappy and more so than that to stand a chance. Tracks it onto the side, but 13-11 is where we end here with Icebox. 100 Thieves straight back at it.
On the third and final map, Split, Loud would once again start with an early 4-0 lead. But after a major timeout from Coach Zix, 100T would recover the half, even taking the lead at 7-5. And in the second half, 100T would pull away with the series, taking the map at 13-8 and the series at 2-1. This loss for Loud unfortunately puts them at 0-3 in a near impossible position to make playoffs. But hey, Lukxo put up a sick debut, Going plus 23 in your first series of VCT despite losing is a huge statement, and he's already proven himself as a huge piece for this team's success in the future.
Sort of deep up towards top nest as well, causing heads on a swivel. Lukxo trying to really dig his way out of this one. Somehow has landed with just Asuna up top and alone. And Lukxo, man, he's just a one-man army.
For right now though, let's go 100 Thieves! Yippee! The second day of the weekend gave us some no crowd games due to the start of LTA North, so the teams were playing in a much smaller studio environment and were quite literally right in front of each other. So what better to start the day off with than a LATAM versus a Brazil team? 2G were coming off of a massive win over Loud in week 2, and were only looking to go upwards from here. But on the other side of the stage, Crew were undefeated at 2-0 and were looking untouchable after a clean win over Sentinels. The first map Icebox would show us Crew going back to that Harbor Viper comp, while 2G would pick KO and Tejo. 2G would open the series with a pistol and anti-eco win, but Crew would start to make some separation with 4 rounds in a row, taking a 4-2 lead.
To find their way in, the code breaks.
Okay, never mind, they got it, they're chill, Wait, is there time? Yeah, there's time, there's plenty of time. Right? Oh my gosh! And although 2G picked up 2 rounds tying the game at 4-4, a massive eco win from Crew would allow them to pull away with the half at 8-4.
They're converting this. They're converting this. Shy gets 2 to close the round.
And he pops his orb and dips out.
Hold on a second. Mazzino has a...
Oh, Mazzino!
Not
3!
Not again.
There's no way.
The controllers getting away with it once more. And now Luis is left in a 1v3. First one found, second not connecting onto it.
The second half would be very clean from Crew, taking the map at 13-6. The second map Ascent would show us 2 drastically different comps, with 2G picking up the comp that G2 has been playing, but with Jet instead of Waylay, while Crew would pick a comp we saw quite a bit last year from Challengers teams, with the double Sentinel and Yoru. 2G would open this map strong, with a 6-2 lead, but Crew put together the last 4 rounds of the half to tie the score at 6-6.
Getting that timing down bottom, it was absolutely huge.
Unfortunately for Crew though, they would struggle in the second half with this comp, leading 2G to a flawless defense half, taking the map at 13-6 and sending the series to the final map Pearl. On this last map, we would see Crew picking up the comp G2 were running during kickoff in Bangkok with the double Sentinel, while 2G would be playing the same comp they played last week. And this map would be the most amazing stomp we'd see in VCT Americas this year. Wait.
Up in heaven.
Wait.
Shy creeping.
That's
his way out,
1.
spotting 1.
That's 2.
These will knock him over.
That's 3.
Bullet. A great start for Crew. He makes a compelling argument. I don't know that I can really argue with that. Like a flawless first half. A level of domination that we haven't seen in a really long time.
Unfortunately, Crew couldn't close out the 13-0, but they'd eventually still close the map at 13-6, giving them the series at 2-1 and putting Crew at 3-0 in their group. The second series of the basement day was G2 versus NRG. G2 were so widely considered the best team in VCT Americas after taking a 2-1 win over MIBR. On the other side, NRG were fighting to get away from the washed allegations. This wasn't a game that people really expected NRG to walk away from with a win, but somehow they still performed below expectations. Oh my gosh, they're walking into CT with 3 dudes.
Oh wait, this could be explosive right now. They want to try and fight this.
Jugaboo!
Straight in. And already revealed close quarters into the pillar. That's going to be finesse, not long for this.
Yeah, Jogama starts with the 4K.
I don't think he's going to anticipate this yet. Leave tucked to the side once more. Up and snap you the aim. Sling it in hand, leaving it just down to 1v1. Som 10 HP in a dream. And it will remain just that. 13-1 is the finish. He was eager to draw some blood out towards Market, even contemplating it. Shorty in hand. He can't keep getting away with this.
10-2.
He's giggling.
He's laughing at him.
Over their corpses.
Of course he is. He's giggling and kicking his feet under the table.
All right, guys, you got 1 minute for this prediction. Tap in. Does NRG get a 3rd round? Yes or no? Put your channel points in right now. Let's see the numbers. Wait, I'm seeing some copers in here. Oh, never mind. 540 on no. 2,000 on no.
Matter. The heading.
Chris, check his PC, please. Look at his face. We can't
Straight up check his PC. This guy doesn't know either. He's like, how did that happen? Hold on.
And Finesse is holding.
Who do you think you are? FNS, listen, you got 3 kills. Now you're holding pixel angles? Like you're 18 years old? You're 33, bro!
Oh, in front of him, he's got the spike! He needs to plant this! It's in no man's land! G2 are going to playoffs no matter what.
What a way to end!
That was like the freest game I've ever played. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest.
This series was a disgusting display of dominance from G2, securing a playoff spot and embarrassing NRG in the process. The final day of the weekend gave us two drastically different matches, a matchup between two winless teams and two of the top teams in the league. Let's start off with the winless matchup, FURIA versus Leviatan. Both of these teams had pretty rough starts, with FURIA losing to G2 and NRG, while Leviatan would go down to Cloud9 and MIBR, all not very easy matches. Both of these teams are still in the running for the playoffs though, so a win here would put them back on track. The first map Ascent would show us a pretty similar comp from FURIA compared to what they ran against G2 in week 1. Only difference was that they swapped out the KO for Taeho, who is currently the most picked agent in the league at 61%. On the other side, we would see a complete overhaul of Leviatan's Ascent comp after they got picked apart by Cloud9 last week, moving away from the double Sentinel and Yoru. This map wouldn't start too hot for Leviatan's King in his Waylay debut.
Oh my gosh, they're so... Wait, King's gonna go huge here, bro.
These guys can't actually accelerate into the site. King might be able to find all 5 players.
Wait.
Oh no, he turned. Oh no, and he dies first.
Despite this odd start, Leviatan would have a solid defense half, starting with a 5-0 lead and closing the half at 8-4. And in the second half, they would mop the floor with FURIA, ending at the map with a 1v3 from Mr. Clutch himself.
Com's gonna have to 1v3 this.
Yeah, show me a 1v3, bro.
If he can
Get
pull
it
it
done.
off, he's gonna get his fights are all bunched up, not giving them any room. He's got all three! The ref.
Nah, that's nice. Yeah, Rossy, you know it's nice, bro. Nah, dude, imagine that's how you lose a 13-4, by the way. And your team, in the other team, it's 2 feet in front of you. You literally hear them yelling. And there's no crowd, it's just you, disappointment, and the other team cheering, bro.
The second map, Pearl, would show us identical comps from both teams, picking up the comp that was popularized by Sentinels and Kickoff with Fade and Taeho. Leviatan would once again open this map with an 8-4 lead on defense, going on to close the map with 13-5. This 2-0 win for Leviatan would be their first win of the stage, and despite being a win over another winless team, showed quite a bit of growth. Unfortunately, their next game is against G2, so it may just be cooked. The final series of the weekend was between two of the current top teams in the league, Cloud9 versus MIBR. Cloud9 have always been labeled the group stage warriors, and they are holding true to that name in stage 1, being undefeated going into this match with wins over Leviatan and NRG. On the other side though, MIBR were 1-1 with a clean win over Leviatan and a very close loss to G2. This match had quite a bit riding on it, because if C9 were to walk away with the win, they would be guaranteed a playoff spot. The first map, Pearl, would show us the same comps we'd seen from these teams previously, with MIBR running the Waylay and C9 playing the double duelist. This map would open with a 4-0 lead for MIBR, and Cortesia picking up some clean shots. C9 would fight their way back into this game though, closing the half at 5-7 in favor of MIBR. C9 would turn up in the second half though, only allowing MIBR 2 rounds, taking the map at 13-9. The second map, Lotus, would show us new comps from both sides. It was the first time we'd see Lotus from the MIBR roster, so a new comp would be expected. But after getting cooked by NRG in week 1, C9 moved away from the raised deadlock, giving us an Oxy vs Aspas Neon battle. This map would start quite rough for Cloud9. Despite having very aggressive openings on their attack half, MIBR consistently shut them down, resulting in a 9-3 half in favor of the Brazilians.
Engagement says that counter util as well for the refight, and it's called for MIBR. On top of it all, will be that cleanup in the trade, but still a lot more obstacles to try and overcome if you are Vic.
Oh, he's got the ultimate out.
The ult, but he needs to try and find a safe place to use it.
The second half would start to show fruit for Cloud9 though, with them starting to put together some solid rounds.
MIBR going to be finding it difficult, yeah. Just unconventional, a bit awkward at best. Shanum though is TP'd right behind him and lines up with these players. Vic is just instantaneous with the return, man. How is he landing these shots?
But it's a round that's very easy to lose yourself in.
A lot of heat being applied now to Shanum. Spotted out here, suppressed, and yeah, capitalize. Oxy, do you dare overstep yourself and try and take this one? Peek forwards, and he's just ahead of the timings. Util's flying forwards. MIBR trying to gear up for this one into the retake. This guy is unstoppable.
This map would get pushed all the way into overtime, where in the end, MIBR still took the map at 15-13, sending this series to the final map Haven. MIBR would be the ones to start on attack this half, but the result would be similar to the second map, with MIBR pulling away with a 9-3 lead.
And edge they were looking for, still double fighting. This is how you throw it. Spike stuck, but none the wiser. And it's all Cortesia It's a 9-3 finish to this half of Haven.
This half would be huge from MIBR's Cortesia, consistently being a thorn in the side of Cloud9 with his lurks.
They get gifted at least with the possibility of just one fight, but as he's activating the setup, that's when Cortesia strikes. Oh, just the best timing in the world for these MIBR players to be taking.
The second half would open with MIBR taking the pistol, and even winning the second round despite C9 forcing into it, putting MIBR up at 11-3. C9 would start to fight back though, taking an eco win and continuing to put together rounds, with Oxy specifically popping off in the second half.
Dikes up, section up most of this side here, Cortesia, right from the side, Oxy! Oxy! He's unleashed! 4 kills!
Unfortunately, despite the effort, MIBR would shut C9 out, taking the map at 13-11 and the series at 2-1. This win for MIBR now makes the only undefeated teams in the league, Crew and G2, being at the top of their groups at 3-0. That's it for week 3 of VCT Americas Stage 1, and these are the standings at the end of the weekend. I watched all these matches live on stream on Twitch and YouTube, so if you want to see my live unfiltered reactions, or just call me old, follow me on Twitch or subscribe right here. I also create daily recaps of these matches on short form platforms, so if you're interested in super short recaps, you can take a look at my TikTok or Instagram that are linked in the description, or just subscribe right here as I also post on YouTube Shorts. Anyways, that's it from me.